Now we go back to the list, and the second item on our list, which is number 2. We told you about this at the beginning. We're calling this the hidden spill. There's a reason we call it the hidden spill. An oil spill that has been quietly leaking millions of barrels of oil into the Gulf of Mexico, and it's gone unplugged for so long that it now verges on becoming one of the worst offshore disasters in U.S. history. You heard it right. One of the worst disasters in U.S. history. You've heard of the Deepwater Horizon and the Exxon Valdez oil spills, right? Well, this oil spill that I'm referring to right now, you've probably never heard of. It's called the Taylor Energy spill. And you know when it happened? It happened back in 2004. This Taylor Energy spill is largely unknown outside of Louisiana, mostly because of the company's effort to keep it a secret in the hopes of protecting its reputation and its proprietary information. As it turns out, this Taylor Energy spill has been quietly and gradually leaking oil off the coast of Louisiana for 14 years now. And now, according to several sources in the Washington Post, it threatens to overtake the Deepwater Horizon spill as the biggest offshore disaster in U.S. history. Some estimates are put at the spill rate at 10,000 to 30,000 gallons of oil per day in the Gulf of Mexico. Can you imagine that happening for 14 years? And most people didn't even know it was going on. Joining me now is an RT producer who's been working on this story. I got to tell you, as I look at this, joining us, by the way, is Sayeh Tavangar. I had no idea when I saw this report. I was startled. How were they able to keep this under wraps for so long?
Well, Rick, believe it or not, the oil and gas industry is extremely underregulated. Now, to give you a little bit of background, the Gulf of Mexico accounts for 20% of the U.S. oil and gas production, and it's extremely rich in oil, and which is one of the main sources that U.S. drills in. And now, within that business, it comes a price, and that's oil spilling. Now, usually annually, there's 330,000 gallons of oil being spilled inside the Gulf. Now, in 2004, when this happened, when this spill occurred at Taylor Energy, they actually did report it to the Coast Guard. But what happened was they reported that they're only leaking about 5 gallons per day.
So they lied.
They lied, exactly.
Yeah.
And as you said, it's leaking about 10 to 30,000 gallons a day of oil.
So that's a lot of damage.
That's a lot of damage. So you do the maths. In 2004, we are at 153,000 gallons of oil that's being spilled. And to give you a comparison, the BP disaster was at 176 million. So it's about to surpass the BP disaster.
Let's look at those numbers one more time. So BP spilled how much?
176 million gallons of oil into the Gulf of Mexico.
And they paid, as I recall, into the billions, right?
They paid $66 billion in fines and damages.
Because it was very public. Everybody knew about it. It was in the news.
It was a slap in your face kind of disaster that everybody heard.
66 billion. Keep that number in mind, everybody. And then these guys who put just as much oil into the Gulf have paid how much?
They have paid, well, they've put aside a fund, a trust for $666 million. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Now, there are Taylor Energy, which no longer exists. So kind of the only person that remains at Taylor Energy is suing the Interior Department for what remains in the trust, which is $450 million.
That's it?
That's it, which means...
So hold on. They're going to end up possibly paying $400 million for the same amount of damage that BP did, and BP paid, you said, 66 billion.
Billion with a B.
66 billion over here,
exactly.
400 million over here.
And you know what the problem is? Because in 2008, Taylor Energy sold off all their oil and gas exploration to a South Korean company. Now, since then, the South Korean company has sold off the little lots. So now here's a company that no longer exists. And here's a platform that's sunk 500 feet deep into the water that's leaking about 30,000 gallons of oil per day. And nobody is being held responsible because nobody knows who to pay for for it.
I imagine, though, this is amazing, by the way. The fact that you're saying there's really, by my estimate as a non-expert, it looks like they're not really paying enough money to be able to provide the cleanup. Not at all, right?
They're paying
not if we go by the standards established by
Absolutely
BP.
not. No, they're paying it. I mean, it's a dime in the bucket if you think about it.
Wow. Okay, let me ask you this as well. I imagine the people who live there along the coast in Louisiana, good people, hearty people, great food, by the way. Some of the best food anywhere in the world, Cajun food. They live off of this industry. It provides them jobs. I mean, the oil industry is important for Louisiana. Are they conflicted?
Well, they're extremely conflicted because the BP disaster actually killed off the whole beach tourism industry. Even though the BP oil spill never even affected a lot of the beaches, a lot of people heard about it. So it killed off tourism. And what will surprise you is that it was the citizens of the area that actually demanded an investigation. So hadn't it been actually for the citizens living around that area, we wouldn't even be talking about this story right now because nobody would know about it.
You really know the details of this. Great reporting, Sayeh.
Thank you very much.
Good job. This is important information that people need to know about.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it. All right.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe to never stop questioning more.